Hi, welcome to another Cajun toy review. Today we're going to be looking at McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Azrael. This is a gold label collector's figure. This is a repaint of a previous Azrael figure that we got that was based off the White Knight comic. Now this is based off of the Suit of Sorrows, which is actually been tied to a lot of different characters in the Batman universe. So I think this looks dope. I really like this look for Azrael. This is more of the classic Azrael that I enjoy. The red one is more in line with the updated newer one. So we're gonna look at both of them, but first let's take a look at this packaging. So nothing new, standard McFarlane packaging here for this character. They're pretty much, if you can say anything about them, they are uniformed, and you know, they look great on the shelf. You got a full character shot. If you wanted to, you can actually have your characters lined up sideways, where you can kind of see everything they have on there, which saves space if you want to do that as well, if you keep them in the boxes. Now, the big difference on here is going to be that gold label on there, telling you that this is special. On the back, we got a product shot. This is going to be the same shot that's going to be on the collector's card. We got some of the other figures that are in this wave. The Robin King, Dr. Fate, Unmasked Red Hood, the White Flash, and the Red Nightwing. So, the UPC. So, not much left to talk about the box, so let's crack open Azrael and check them out. Alright, here is our Suit of Sorrows Azrael, looking badass. I really like this figure. The color scheme on this figure compared to the original one, the red one, it looks a million times better. His cape or his streamers or whatever you want to call them look really awesome. They stand out way more with the white on black versus the red on maroon that we've seen before. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the character of Azrael, he was introduced in 1992 in the Sword of Azrael. He's been kind of on and off Batman villain, anti-villain kind of character for quite some time. He's actually was Batman in the Nightfall series, which if you've never read these books and stuff like that, I highly recommend them. They've been putting in a couple different trades in a couple of different ways, but that's not gonna look good in that light. But the original one, like the Nightfall one, is basically about Bane coming and letting everybody out of Arkham and just destroying Batman by having him just run through a gauntlet of his enemies and challenges until he's beaten, broken, exhausted mentally and physically. And then once he gets to that point, Bane moves in and famously breaks his back. Batman basically, Bruce basically has Azrael step in the role of Batman. And at first he wears the traditional Batman suit, but after getting his ass kicked and stuff like that, he makes his own suit, and it's one of the more mechanical armored suits that we had seen at the time, and it looked badass at the time. It still looks freaking awesome. And we got kind of a Nightfall suit for the DC Multiverse line, but not one yet that's this colored accurate. The other one was just all pure black. I would like to see this really cool, like the blue with the yellows and stuff, the first version of it that we saw. And of course, going into pure rage, Bruce steps back into the role and handles his business and takes back the mantle of the Batman. But yeah, these are three huge books, so it's a lot of comic. And that's just the original, like the early stuff for him. He's done a lot more, but this appearance is based off of the White Knight. And in that version, he wore the red suit, which we'll look at a little bit more. This suit is based, like I said, is based off the Suit of Sorrows, which was made by the Order of Purity, which is like a splinter group of the Order of St. Dumas, which is what he is a part of. And this suit basically, it has to be worn by the pure heart, and the original guy, I can't remember his name, he wasn't. So who is besides Steve Rogers and Mr. Rogers. So of course it caused him to have rage and all this stuff like that. So the suit was put away. It was stolen by Ra's al Ghul and then given to Batman. And Batman wore it, but of course same thing. He had rage and all this stuff like that. So he locked it away in the Batcave, and it was eventually stolen by Azrael, Jean Paul Valley. And But anyway, that's what this suit is and stuff like that. And it, like I said, it looks dope as hell. So let's go ahead and take a look at his accessory, and then we'll take a look at this figure. Alright, so Azrael does come with his sword, which has an attached flame effect on it. Now, there are two swords that have been tied to Azrael, stuff like that. The Sword of Sin and the Sword of Salvation. And they look different depending on what artist draws them and stuff like that. But the Sword of Sin has like a red flame on it. So this is what I'm going to call this going forward, is the Sword of Sin. Now, the Sword of Salvation has a blue flame. So with this attachment, that's why I'm going to assume that. But it's really cool. It's basically the same as the previous sword, and you just have this really cool attachment, and you just basically slide the blade into it like that, and it holds on the hilt, and it looks really, really awesome. It's a really cool effect. It stays on there. It's not going anywhere. Now, it's the exact same effect, the same color and stuff that we got with the previous sword, which is this one right here. Now their paint is much different on there. So this one is just all silver, except for that little gold top on the bottom of the hilt. But looking at these swords, there's a couple things I want to point out. Well, first, both of them have the crucifix on it with the baby Jesus. But I love the paint on this one a million times better. I mean, obviously, it's a lot more details, a lot more color. It just looks cooler. But these blades, this one is kind of beat on here, and that's how it was. But this one, I'm going to have to just take a razor. It's got a little unfinished plastic, a little plastic. I might be able to get that right off of my fingertip. There we go. Yeah, had a little bit of plastic left on there. So, but the nice thing that these are painted different, I can have my sword of sin and my sword of salvation right there. But I only have two red effects. So, anyway, that's it. That's the only accessory he comes with. He doesn't come with additional heads or additional hands and stuff like that. Just this really cool sword and this awesome ass fire effect. So let's look at our figure. Okay, looking at our new gold label Suit of Sorrows Azrael, and I love the paint scheme on this guy. It's not perfect. There are a couple little things that I wish were different, but overall, extremely pleased with this figure. There's a lot to like about him. I like this color scheme, and I like this look way more than the previous Azrael figure. And they are both awesome figures. But if I could only have one, that's gonna be this one right here. Now I might switch their swords around, but hey. So let's take a look at him. So he's first of all, the paint on this guy, I'll talk about the paint first. The paint on this guy is really good. There's just a couple spots that I wish that were painted, that were painted on the original figure that is missed, and could just give it just a little bit more detail. And that would be like the crucifix right here on his belt. On the previous figure, we'll have to break him out to point this out. On the previous figure, that was all painted one solid color. So it would have been nice if they kind of went all the way down, or just slapped a little bit of that gold over there and added it to it. I mean, that's an easy fix, but the fact that I got to do it is an issue for me. Also, he has on his arm this armband right here that kind of wraps around, and it just gives it a little bit more pop with that black on that red. It's also on this figure right here, but it doesn't have any paint on it. It's just painted silver like that. So it could have been brown or something, kind of like these straps are, and that would have been cool. Now his this is unpainted at all, and this sucks. Like I don't like this at all. So this could have been black or something like that, or I don't know, maybe even a wash on it would make it look a little better. But it just matches his arms, and it's supposed to be like a plate mail, I understand, but this is added on. This is actually riveted on there for a reason, and it should show. So that just, I don't like that. And then of course with this one we got that really cool detail where you can kind of see the red inside the gold right here, and it's lost on this figure because it's just all painted one silver color. You missed the details with his extra little piece of armor on his thumb right here, and also right there where it's not painted. So his blade again looks really cool on both, but it's not painted on this one, so you lose detail as well. So right here, see we got a blade, it's just one silver color again, while on this one we have this really cool gold handle with a cross on there. His pouch on this one is just a solid brown. On this one it is gold with the cross and the little snap. So again, on the back, gotta move these predator dreads. We lose some of the detail here as well, with this gold is missing on this one, and the gold is also missing right there. So that is a bummer on there. And then just a small, just a little bit of extra color on there. Like this is like a two-tone thing on there. We lose that on there. We don't get any kind of paint on this little crest right there as well. And then any accents that were on his cowl, his hood and stuff is gone. So I don't know. Now I'm sitting there talking about it and looking at it and stuff like that. I'm slightly going back to Team Red, because the other little detail is this two-tone right here with this maroon going into this red and stuff like that. It looks really, really good. We lose that there with just one single color white. So anyway, so we'll come back. But overall, so those paint gripes, which now listing them and stuff, is a lot more than my initial just like posing them, taking them out of the packaging and stuff. So that might change my overall opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments, stuff like that, because that is a lot of little details that we kind of saw together. So what's your thoughts on that? Now the paint that they do have, like I said, I like this whole Crusader, the white with the red and stuff like that. It looks especially badass with the mask, the black accents on these parts and stuff like that on top of the mask really makes this figure look cool. It's gonna be fun to take pictures with, I can say that. So a lot of cool detail on the torso, really cool stuff on the belt, but when we get to the legs, it's boring. It's really boring. I mean, he's basically wearing some tights, he's wearing some jeggings or something like that, and there's nothing there. There's no straps, there's no seams, there's nothing. And then we got some Christmas elf shoes and stuff like that. So I know it's the common accurate and stuff like that, but it's just boring when you're looking at everything else that's going on with this figure. So luckily he does have some peg holes though. As for articulation on our Azrael figure and stuff like that, he does have head rotation. It's a little limited, and when you got to kind of fix the cowl when you do it, because the cowl kind of slides independent, so you can cover up one of his eyes and just look really goofy and stuff like that. So it's a two-step process. So if you want to move his head, then you're gonna have to come and kind of fix the cowl a little bit as well. You can look up a little bit, not very much, which isn't surprising. Down, you get a good bit more. It kind of separates there. You do have a see, his head's all crazy. You do got some nice tilt there on there as well. So so his arms, this arm is it's got rotations on. It's gonna be kind of limited with this big old shoulder plate right here on the shoulder pad. So we'll look at this armor here, but full rotation. He's got single jointed elbow, which is hindered by this plate right there anyway. So you'll the one thing I wish you could do with this figure that is you can't get him to hold the sword with two hands and stuff like that. There's no He-Man moments going on with this guy. It's one or none. So for his hands, he does have a bicep swivel and a wrist joint, which has these things are getting all over the place, a little bit of flex in there, not much. So yeah, there we go. The joint was facing the wrong way, so a little bit more. Nice little click in there, you hear that? The ab crunch on this guy is limited with all the stuff going on in the torso. You can get him to look up and repent, but I guess that's going to be one of the best parts of the paint. You can see that red goes all the way into his nether region, into his chest. We do have a nice tilt, and he has rotation. You're going to have to grab and twist both, or not. There we go. Azrael can do a split, so there's no thigh cut or anything like that on them. He does have double jointed knees, so you can show off them tight tone legs and them tights. And he does have a foot rotation and a toe joint pivot. So fix your face. And here is our Azrael next to some other DC Multiverse figures. And the one thing that I noticed I want to point out is that he's like a lot bulkier and bigger. He looks like a dude in a suit of armor minus the tights. And here is Azrael with a couple of different standard 6-inch figures from DC Multiverse, Marvel Legends, and G.I. Joe Classified. And here's our Azrael figure next to the new Batcycle from the White Knight, which is also reviewed, but good for a good sense of scale. And Azrael riding the White Knight cycle. He will definitely get them whites dirty, but he can ride it. He actually has 2 grip hands, so. And here's Azrael riding T-Rex. I'm sure there's an evolution joke in there somewhere. Overall, this is a solid figure. If you missed the original Azrael and you wanted him, you can't really go wrong. I mean, it is a really good figure for the price and what you get and stuff like that. You know, looking at the 2 of them together, that's where the nitpicking comes in, and like the little like disappointments and stuff like that. But if I didn't have the other figure to look at, I wouldn't complain so much. But anyway, let me know in your comments which one do you prefer. You know, I might do a little customization on this guy later on, put some wash on him and stuff like that, and catch some of those little details. But what do you think? Which one is your favorite? What is your favorite incarnation or like interpretation of Azrael? I love the Nightfall suit, which is a completely different looking guy, but I also really like the way he looked in the Batman Arkham Knight games. He looked pretty badass, very similar to this, but sleeker and a little cooler. I have a picture in there, of course, right here for you to see. But if you did like this video, please leave a like, comment, and consider subscribing. Check out our other content and stuff like that. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next video. As always, take care of yourself.